Tenant unions began to form across the United States in the 1970s as activists sought to protect the rights of renters campaigning for law reform. Poverty increased by 1.2 million in 1970 alone, and unemployment rates increased by 5% from 1970 to 1980. Unions provided a way to collectively fight back against practices like excessive rent, improper building safety and maintenance, and landlord harassment, as opposed to fighting back on an individual level. The Autonomous Tenants Union is a tenants union based in Chicago, Illinois. Its organization is run solely by volunteers and exists to defend tenants' rights to equal and dignified housing in the Albany Park area in mid-eastern Chicago. It provides resources to tenants, such as explaining tenants' rights and legal procedures, explaining the eviction process, how to organize and execute offensive action against corrupt landlords, tenants' rights in the winter, and so much more. As someone living in a town with a population under 40,000, tenants unions are sparse. Larger cities like Chicago are known to have higher standards of education and cultural institutions, and their greater population allows them to provide organized means of educating tenants on how to defend themselves against their landlords. Unions are simply more common in cities with more people. However, that does not mean that tenants in smaller cities, like mine, are being taken advantage of. In Andrew Church and Mark Stevens' Unionization and the Urban-Rural Shift in Employment, they state that the employment losses resulting from restructuring are geographically skewed toward urban centers because they contain many of the types of workplaces most likely to be run down, older plants with the oldest production techniques, lowest productivity, and most highly unionized workforces. So cities like mine don't have a high demand for unions because they don't face the magnitude of issues faced by larger cities. Evicted by Matthew Desmond follows several tenants and landlords who are facing or enforcing eviction in Milwaukee. Most of the tenants are impoverished or behind on rent, which means that landlords are able to evict them if they are practicing tenant rights, like calling the Department of Neighborhood Services or legally withholding their rent when they otherwise wouldn't have. Although tenants unions exist to educate tenants on their rights, they are not always able to safely and securely practice those rights when they are behind on rent. Although this problem affects the majority of the people Desmond wrote about and evicted, it is rarely addressed even by tenants unions themselves. That's why it's important to raise awareness to situations like this, where tenants are taken advantage of and given no other option. Thank you for watching. Are you for real?